Hi, I'm Helen Cummins, and this is Mallorca Living, a video podcast dedicated to sharing the stories of inspiring people who have made this beautiful island their home. For each episode, we'll share their story. They'll tell us about their journey, the challenges, the triumphs, the insider tips that make life here so special. Let's dive in. Hello, I'm Helen Cummins and welcome to Mallorca Living, the video podcast about living in Mallorca. I'm here today with Anja Flegenbauer and we're going to talk about her life on Mallorca. She's worked in a very male-dominated industry and it has been very successful, and we're going to find out more about that. She's also raised a beautiful daughter, Lily, all on her own here on the island, and we're going to hear much more about that. And we're also going to talk about what it's like to run your own business here on the island in the construction industry. Anja, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here today. So I just wanted to start because we've very recently made a journey together. What did you think of the trip to Morocco on our retreat?
It was magical.
Yes.
It's not the first time I came already. It's already the second time because it's fantastic. For me, it's a perfect counterpart to my very stressy life. And even though I try also to relax during my work, but this is so special and it's so powerful and it's really magical. I enjoyed it a lot. It's very good organized. I like good food and the yoga and the views and the accommodation.
Yes, and the people actually, isn't it? The group
and also
amazing.
the group, fantastic.
And
yes.
It's like-minded people. That's what I feel. It just all works together so easily. And many nice friendships evolving from.
I think the few days it felt like at least 2 weeks.
Yes.
I came home and I was like 2 weeks away.
But I still see the sparkle in your eyes,
yes,
and I can see
I feel it. I feel it. Yeah.
It's incredible. So a beautiful gift to yourself.
Yes.
So let's start at the very beginning. What brought you to Mallorca?
What brought me to Mallorca? Adventure. I think one of my values is maybe adventurous, being adventurous, trying new things. I want to learn, trying new things. And
have new experiences.
New experience. And I was a little bit bored about Germany. I was brought up close to Munich, and then I studied in Munich. After I finished my studying civil engineering at the TU München, I was a little bit disappointed because my first jobs I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, I was not allowed to go to the construction site. They said, "Oh, you're a woman. Better in the beginning. We keep you in the
And did they really tell you you're a woman, so you can't go to the construction?
Yes.
Oh
and
my
this
gosh!
made me really angry.
This could not happen today.
No. But in that time, it was like this, and so I tried another job. They said it would be better, but it was not better.
Okay.
And then I said, why not leaving Germany? Why not trying something new? And the funny thing is I had a job offer in Dubai and also in England and also on the mainland in Spain. But I fell in love with Mallorca.
Right. So when you came here for a week or two?
No, the first time I came here, this was in 1999. And it was
the same year I came to Mallorca.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, and my boyfriend, but it was a visit, it was a holiday trip. And it was a surprise. It was, my boyfriend at that time planned this trip. It was a surprise for me.
Right.
And when he said, I bought us flight tickets to Mallorca, I was like, really? I don't like Mallorca. Why Mallorca? Why not Greece? Why not Italy?
So you weren't pleased at all?
No, because at that time in Germany, there was a lot going on in the media about Mallorca. And Mallorca was like, it was named like the cleaning ladies island.
I know,
it was
Putzfrau Island, I heard
and in TV, it was all full of all this. Every night there was something, about binge drinking and things like this. And in Germany, really, I thought Mallorca is Ballermann.
Oh, wow.
I thought
So the whole of Mallorca is like Ballermann.
And I was like, ooh,
it's like for the English, it's the same.
Yes.
They think Mallorca is Magaluf,
Yes.
which of course it's only a tiny area.
We searched it and we couldn't find it. And my first trip to Mallorca, I couldn't find Ballermann because at the end it's such a small area
and insignificant considering the beauty of the island.
So we went to Mallorca. I was in the airplane. I was, oh my God, what
But
will
you've
this
never
be?
been to the island before.
I've never been before.
No. So this was your first trip.
I came here. We had a nice hotel in Cala Ratjada.
Nice.
And I absolutely, Cala Agulla, I fell in love with this beach. And,
it's one of the most, it's Caribbean, right?
Yes,
in Mallorca.
yes,
It's like the Caribbean, yeah.
And then we had a car. We were driving around the whole island. I was so, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And we have to go here and we have to go here. And then I was, we also visited at the time the big construction areas in Porto Andratx and in Santa Ponsa, Nova Santa Ponsa.
Yes, which was just being probably built at that moment.
Yes, it was the beginning. It was really the beginning.
Yeah.
And I felt like, there's really a lot of work for me.
And there's a lot of work for me as a civil engineer. I love it. I love it. So you could see yourself in Mallorca.
I saw myself there and also saw there that, of course, there are a lot of clients who want to build with an European or Northern European standard. And I saw what I saw on this construction sites, and it was,
Good or bad?
Yeah, no, it was bad what I saw there.
Yeah, so you said there's plenty of room for improvement.
There was really a big boom at that time, and there was a lot going on. And also when I came here then in 2001, I did a lot of surveys, and there were, it was people really, they trusted the wrong people, paid a lot of money in advance.
This nightmare stories, right?
The nightmare stories. This was exactly when I came. And I had to write a lot of surveys.
And who were you working on behalf of when you did the surveys? For the buyers or the sellers or the bank or the insurance?
This was then for
private individuals.
Private that wanted to build a dream home here and found somebody. They had an architect or a project already and trusted the wrong people. That's the main issue here.
We do hear these nightmare stories, don't we, from when you live on the island for some time. And it's all down to who you're lucky enough to meet, right?
Yes.
And trust.
Yeah. Trust is a big point here,
massive.
yes. And it's very often it's the same story. They find somebody, I don't know, meet them and trust them and having a good time and somebody is promising you he can do everything and he's so good, he knows everything and he can do everything, knows everything about it. And they become friends and also sometimes I think it's very easy if then you think, oh, that's super. I trust him. I give him all my money, and he will sort it out.
They want to believe. They really want to believe that it's going to work out good. Yeah. We've heard these stories.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And very often I came there and had to do then the survey and find out, this is not wrong. This is not okay. And no. Yeah. And I was very often then the messenger of the bad
information.
Bad information.
Yeah. And this is hard to see, very hard to see. So when you moved to Mallorca, you started to work with, you were senior engineer, no? Or project manager for a very reputable company on the island. And I think that was your introduction to the absolute top end of the market, no? The luxury villas on Mallorca.
I enjoyed a lot to work in professional teams. This is really big fun when you have the top professionals, and I was used to work then sometimes with an engineers team sitting in Switzerland, and they are engineering, I don't know, that your pool area can float up and you have it as a terrace, and this was really big fun. And I don't know, the interior designer coming from Belgium and bringing it all together, working in professional teams, guiding this team.
But you've also worked with some of the richest people in the world to build or renovate houses here in Mallorca, right?
Yeah.
What can you tell us some of the stories, some of the crazy things you had to build or construct or renovate? Can you tell us some of those stories? I remember you telling me about one place that, I think that you had it done, and then they decided at the end to even invest a lot more money and take it to a whole other level.
Yeah, we made a renovation of a very well-known, very old property, and it was meant to be sold. And it was so funny, we had the presentation there was a big party and media and everything was here for the presentation because it was brought to the market and but the client behind, he didn't show up at this party because they don't want to be seen there. But I don't know if it was the next day or a few days later, they called me and said, no, we will not sell this property. We are, you know what, we are going to live there, but it's not our standard at the moment. So then we brought in so much more, I don't know, it was really the garden, the pool, there was brought in so much more.
Yeah. And it was just the level.
Yes, of course, smart home at top level and everything, but it was all finished, and then we started again.
Wow.
We started again.
For another year or two.
For example, the pool totally, and it was all the smart home, and also it came until the garden. It was also all this, how do you say, building automation, that you can control everything from everywhere in the world and control and also say, a little bit more water and also all
this is an incredible experience for you, no? I mean, to have this opportunity to work at this, which probably in Germany you mightn't have had, you know, it would have been more difficult, right, to have that opportunity. But sometimes in a place like Mallorca, it's more accessible, right?
It is.
Yeah, wow. And how have you, so you stayed working with that company for some years, gained a huge amount of experience, obviously.
Yes.
And then at what point did you decide to go it alone, to set up your own business?
And at what point was this? I planned it already. I wanted to do this earlier already, but I don't know. There was one point where I said, "No, I can't go on here because the company became bigger and bigger, and so much more people were working there." And I said, "No, I have to do it by my own." I also said, "Now it's the time I want to work a little bit." I don't want to say less. I think now I work even more, but less projects. I said I want to go deeper.
And maybe deeper and more dedicated to focus.
I want to dedicate me more on a little bit less projects. Then I felt sometimes like in a circus, and I'm like miss 200%, and it was really hard for me to keep all the balls up all the time, and I said maybe I do it a little bit less projects and dedicate more.
And are you enjoying? Is that what's turned out?
Yes,
are you enjoying it more?
I really
So how does it work? Because a client basically hires you to oversee, to project manage the construction of their new home. So how can you fill us in on that?
There are a few different possibilities. The perfect way. I tell you the perfect way, but it's not always perfect. Very often clients come to me and say, "Oh my God, something's going wrong, and I have not a good feeling. Please help me." And sometimes 2 weeks ago I got contracted by telephone. I said, "Please, let's meet." He said, "No, please, you need to go there immediately." I didn't see him before, and he said,
contracted you over the telephone.
He contracted me.
But that's out of desperation, which is not the best way to start a project, to be honest.
Yes, because then I also said, I'm in a very bad position.
Yeah, you could go in a kind of a negative way.
I have to ask questions. There are a few things are already, you can't see them anymore. They're hidden already. And also then it comes, you have to trust or you have to prove. You have to open things again. And it's really, I prefer from the beginning. And I say a team is very important, and you need to know what to do. It's a strategy. And this means bringing together for the client the ideal architect, for example. Sometimes clients have already an architect, but also in architects, I have cases and I tell it directly to the client. So this architect, so for example, I have one example. We had a very, very complicated license situation. And I know a perfect architect for this, but this architect, he will not be good in details. He will not be good at the construction site. He's not a designer. This not good, but he's perfect. I tell him, we work on how we go on, and we received the license in a very, very difficult townhouse in Mallorca. The license was there. It was almost not possible to get a license, but we got a license. But it was a little bit tricky. So we worked with, in general, with 3 licenses and made it work. And but the client knew this architect is later on the construction site. He's medium. I know it, and I told him before. And very often it is like this. And then you need a good construction company. Finding them and then making.
And all the ones that are really good are booked up, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get them, and the ones that are really good, they're growing, and it's becoming a
but
big
it can
issue
also
on
happen
Mallorca.
that I ask them and they say, okay, Anja, if you're in the team, so it makes it much easier for us. It's also good for them.
Yeah.
It's good for them when I'm in the middle, because I talk a lot. I talk to the client. And bring it then later. I write a little report to make decisions, and the construction company we get it in a written form. Bum, a few points, and also
so you do
I see myself as an interface between them.
Yeah. And I mean, you're helping
from here and from here.
Yeah. So you're supporting the client all the way.
Yes.
And then also you're communicating in a professional way with the construction company.
Yeah.
It's a perfect combination, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it must save the client an awful lot of stress. Because, you know, many people are professional in business, or they don't have the knowledge, right? And then they're being asked to make these choices, these decisions, which is maybe completely out of their
and I can tell them, oh, I had this before. If you want to know it, you can do this, or this is the advantage, this is the disadvantage. Yeah. I also know them when they have, for example, little children. And it comes to the way I cannot give them advice what floor is good with little children, or if they say we want to sell it, we built this, we want to use it 2 years, and then we want to sell it. I learned really a lot about what makes a home, what gives worth to it.
Oh, the value.
What gives value to it. Yes, thank you. And not doing crazy things. When they say I want to paint my living room in green, I say, you can do this, but it makes it really hard to sell it. You know, it's just an example.
So advice
or
along
a
the
red
way.
kitchen or something. Yeah, it's funny, you can do this, but a red kitchen.
The market's going to be a little bit more limited on who will want that afterwards.
Yeah. And you can add your home value by using some special brands and things like this. There are well-known brands, and they have experience. I also know. I have seen already so many things, how if you have a family, for example, as I told you, or you think maybe, I also have clients here, I don't know, they are in their 60s, and I tell them, do you think this house with all these stairs is maybe wouldn't it better to make it like
more
level?
flat?
And
more
also, why don't we put an elevator in, or things like this?
So you're basically like the professional guiding hand in the project.
And I'm not afraid of telling clients something. Very often I see it. What we're talking about now could also be an architect telling it, but sometimes the architects. They don't dare to say something. They say, oh, this client...
I'm afraid to say
he knows what he wants. Yeah. But I dare to tell them. I have this experience. And now with the years, it becomes even more interesting, because I have this 24 years experience now here on Mallorca. And I can share this experience. I can tell them, oh, I had this before. Be careful with this, or da-da-da.
Yeah,
that makes it now even more fun in my job.
So your ideal client actually connects with you at the very beginning, right? And
Yes,
then you
ideal.
start to build the team and putting the team together. whether it's the architect, the construction company, all of the competence, all the professionals you need to have in the team. And you've obviously, with your experience, can handpick who is the right one for this. It's a little bit what we do actually as a property buyer's agency, because we're the same. We listen very much to what the client wants, and then we're sort of, with our local knowledge, picking. It's like finding the needle in a haystack. But of course you need years and years of knowledge and network and experience in order to come to that point. Isn't that true?
Yes, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
you can't arrive and the next day you can do that. It's not possible. It's years and years of experience. So I want to talk to you a little bit about your personal life in Mallorca. So you came here as a professional single lady, and in your 24 years here.
24 years
here. You had Lily, and you raised her here on the island. How was that, raising a little girl?
For me, it was so clear that this is a perfect childhood for her, because this very multicultural surrounding, a lot of nature, a beach very close, mountains, very international community, very good schools. I enjoyed this a lot. For her, I wanted this for her too, because when she was like this. She was talking to somebody in German. She was turning around, talking in English. Here, Spanish, Catalan.
I know. I have the same with Eva.
I wanted this, and this is fantastic.
And it's so natural for them. They don't, it's no effort. It's just they grow up with all these languages and this experience of a cosmopolitan.
And all this nature, you go having a picnic at the beach in winter time, things like this.
I mean, we live outdoors here really about 8 months of the year, 9 months. And even during the winter time, there's many beautiful days where we can go hiking or cycling, whatever. It's so beautiful. So how was it balancing the work and motherhood?
This was very, very challenging. I had the big luck that I was working for a well-known company here, and they really supported me a lot. They are very, very child friendly. And they said, if there's something at school, a presentation or something, I always could go, and they were very
flexible.
When she was ill, this was really good. Of course, I had a network. I had good friends supporting me, friends where Lily could stay after school sometimes. I had, of course, I tried au pairs, but this was also challenging. I found out sometimes it was like having a second child.
Yes, okay. Your mom, you said, has also helped a lot.
Yes. Also, my mom came over to help us.
Oh, well, that's great. So, I mean, it wasn't, from what I'm hearing, it wasn't easy, but there was many advantages. So, kind of the advantages outweighed the challenges.
Yes, you're right. Right.
Great.
I sometimes also took Lily to some, when there was not a construction site, when there was a viewing or something. I brought her sometimes, and she was sitting there reading a book or something, and also saw that mommy has to work. And this is, I think this is, and maybe, I don't know, here it is possible.
Yes, I think the Spanish are very natural with children. They're very open, right, to have children around. I always say the children are like the kings and queens of the house. They are, aren't they? The Spanish welcome children into restaurants and public places. I love that about the culture here. It's very easy to raise children here and not to kind of have to separate them or discipline them. It's like they're part of the fun, right? Was that your experience too?
That's my experience too. It's much more, you can do it easily. I also brought Lily sometimes
after
school back to the office. And she could do her homework there. I think Germany, that was saying, can't do this. But
it's more fluid here. There's less boundaries between the one life and the other. It's more fluid, which is really, really great. What part of the island do you live on? Where are you living yourself?
I tried several points, and I wanted to adapt to my situation, to make my life easier, because it was...
Well, tell us the different places you've lived, because we want to hear this experience.
I tried a few, and for example, when Lily was smaller, we were living in the area of Escabdea and Caivia, because I found it so beautiful there that she could visit her friends, or going to the playground, or going to the to the public swimming pool there. And then when she became a teenager, we moved to Palma. So at the moment I live in Bonanova.
Bonanova. It's one of the areas I like a lot, on the outskirts of Palma.
It's outskirts. It's a good residential area. I have a nice sea view. It's calm there. My daughter can walk down to Portopee or catching the bus. I am very easily so it takes me 25 minutes to go to Porto Andratx because I have a very good access to the
motorway.
To the motorway. Yeah. Also via Cintura. Now I also have projects on the opposite side of the island. I don't know how it happened, but good projects. And I said, okay, let's do this. I also have a very good connection to the Via Cintura there. On the weekend, I can take my bicycle and going to Santa Catalina. For walking is a little bit too much. My mother walks; she walks everywhere. She's also walking, but I take my bicycle. Yeah. That's what I like on this area.
Bonanova is just to explain to people who mightn't know the area. Yeah. It is basically between kind of Palma and the village of Henover, which is a very traditional village. Yes. And Bonanova, there's many old apartment buildings. Yes. But what's beautiful about them, because they were built quite luxurious, no? Maybe they're 20, 30, 40 years old, but they were built like as a high spec at the time. And they tend to be bigger, much bigger in size than what you'd get today with the new build. Isn't that true? Yeah. So the rooms are bigger, it's more spacious and
It's more spacious, yeah. And I have mine is a little bit cozy. I think they made 2 apartments out of one of these huge apartments. But at the moment, first I always said, it has a few advantages, but it's too small. But now, because then my daughter now goes to boarding school, now it's perfect in its size, because it's easier to manage and it's quite cozy. I enjoy it.
You like it, yeah.
Let's see what the future brings. I'm already looking for something else. Yeah? Okay. But now, that's what I wanted to say, I always try to adapt to make our life easier and to bring the best out of it, or to have the best out of it. But now I'm looking for property to buy, and let's see. I'm not so connected to Palma. It could be also in the outskirts, to get it even more calm.
More calm, more peace. I think you need a kind of an antidote to your very, very, very busy life. Yeah. And what about socializing in Mallorca? How, friends, male, female, so on. How is that in Mallorca?
It's good. You have to be... there are always changes, because people are coming, people are leaving. That's you have to learn.
Transient.
At the beginning, I was very sad when some very good friends had to leave the island. I was very sad. But sometimes also they come back. Of course, they come back for a holiday, but sometimes they come back
because they realize Mallorca is the best place that they don't like. It happens a lot. People say, they think, I'm going to try, I'm going back here home, I'm going here. And then a few years later, they're back on the island. They
come back. And I have to say, I like it because it's so mixed up. So in what I experienced in Munich, everything is like in a drawer. There are always some like-minded people. What I really love about Mallorca is that age, financial background, all this, it's so mixed. And also you don't only have to be all the people think the same. No, you mix, have different lifestyles.
And it's so rich in a cosmopolitan way with the, you can be at a dinner party. I was at a dinner last Friday night. We were 9 people and we were 8 nationalities. And just that experience of everybody having a different perspective and different experiences, it makes life so interesting here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And age, I have very young friends, I have older friends. It's very mixed.
Yeah. And what about meeting a man here on the island? What is it like?
That's quite difficult. It's
difficult?
Yes.
I think it's difficult worldwide, right? It's not only in Mallorca.
No, I think maybe it's easier in Munich.
I don't think so.
Else.
In Munich is one of the places, if you do the research, I think there's something like 4 to 6 women for every male.
Yeah.
The numbers are in Munich, I don't think it's a good example.
Yeah. But in Paris.
Okay.
Not long a time ago, I went to Paris with my daughter, and they're also very nice men. And you can meet them, and they talk to you. They're so direct. They say, "Oh, can I invite you for a coffee?" I don't know.
Yeah.
It was really. This is here. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Could improve.
It could improve. Well, I met my husband while I was here on holidays, and I've other friends who have kind of met people because they get, their partner came on holidays here, and if a holiday romance turned into the real thing. So, I mean, but the good thing about here, you have a lot of opportunities in the sense of people do have parties, and it's not difficult to get plugged in here to a social group. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
And if you have a particular interest, if you like salsa dancing, or if you like, I don't know, cycling or whatever, even the yoga, the whole world of wellness and well-being, it's growing so phenomenally on the island.
Yes, I experienced this a lot. There are so many very interesting things and gatherings, and dance, and there's a party, and there's a yoga experience, really a lot. Sometimes you can't choose where to go because there's really...
And there's always an opening event, an art gallery or a launch of something. If you know the right people, you can be invited a lot. Really, that's great. And I wanted to talk to you because you work in a very male-dominated industry, right? And I always loved the fact that you're a woman doing this kind of what would have been considered for many years a more male role. And we've talked a bit about this business and the masculinity side, and being more the feminine and connecting with your energy, your feminine energy. And this can sometimes be difficult because you have to be kind of disciplined and controlled and but on the other side, feminine and more soft. And how do you balance these two sides of you?
I found my way to balance it out. At the beginning, I don't know, I was young. I really, to look more serious, I used to wear glasses, but I didn't need glasses, but just to look more.
To look more serious.
Yeah. But now, forget it. I don't care. I think it's especially this feminine way. I also nowadays sometimes I have to say I don't know it, because I don't know it. I can't. Before I was like, there always has to be a solution. I have to be very. And this is like life is, and this makes one more authentic. Yeah. And this is so important because everything else will not. Yeah, it's better like this. And the feminine way, sometimes it's so funny because with all these male energies, sometimes you are in the middle, and it's so easy to see what helps in a psychological way sometimes. I've seen it in 2 big cases already. When I was not so involved anymore in a construction site, the male energies were like
fighting.
Big fight. And what happens then?
Egos.
Craftsman leaving, constructor totally upset. Oh, I will never go. Never. He's crazy. I will never go there. And
so you bring that harmony, that kind of...
Yeah, but not only harmony, saying everything is nice. Sometimes it's just how you say things. Yeah. I can also say, you have to do this again. But if I say, this is totally, what did you do here? This is not the way how you can
so
talk. So
he's leaving people with their respect and their dignity and telling them.
I think, yes, respect is very important.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do find the way to balance this energy.
Yeah. And very often it helps to work with the proud. Is so important here.
The pride of
pride. Yeah,
pride.
That's what I wanted to say. Pride is so important here.
Yes,
If you work with this, you get it.
You get everything.
Yeah, because it's so easy. Also, a craftsman, he want to be proud of his work.
Yeah, and appreciate
and
it.
not accept it or doing it acceptable.
Yeah. So actually it sounds to me like it can even be an advantage. Do you find that with the clients they're even more trusting of you? Because I don't know, it's more like I think it's this feeling of a safe pair of hands that they're going to have when they give you the role of building their home on Mallorca.
For me, it's also very important. I'm here now 24 years, and my work, I don't want to that somebody says she did well, it was okay. I want to stay here. The island is so small, and people are talking. And also, I like my job, and I want to make the best out of it. And it's something being part of a team, bringing out good architecture, good design, and something that stays there. I'm also proud of it, of course.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a beautiful way that we can kind of wrap up our chat today, because in the end, that's what kind of life is about, isn't it? It's like, what do you leave behind? What is your legacy, really? Because you can do sort of average work, or you can do excellent work. And it sounds to me that you tend to choose where you can to deliver on excellence, which is beautiful. Before we leave, I have some questions I want to ask you. So it's just some quick fire questions. Beach or mountain?
Mountain.
Mountain. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Sunset. Romantic. Summer heat or winter calm?
Winter calm, definitely.
Okay. Siesta or fiesta?
Siesta.
Siesta?
Yes.
Really? Single woman, you have to go for a fiesta. Pamboli or ensamada?
Pamboli.
Pamboli.
Yeah,
you're a savory
you can chase
girl.
me.
Okay.
Ensamada, I don't.
And North Coast or South Coast?
That's interesting. North Coast.
North
because
Coast.
Of the mountains.
Yes.
And, I love this rough beauty.
Yes,
and,
rugged beauty is beautiful. So Anja, thank you so much for being my guest today. And it was a real pleasure to hear more about your work and your professional life, your personal life, and your journey for the last number of years in Mallorca. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Mallorca Living. We hope you found it inspiring and uplifting. If you're planning to relocate to Mallorca and buy a property here on the island, we would love to guide you and support you in your journey. Reach out to us today, book a consultation, and let's start your journey together to move to Mallorca.